What is going on, everybody, and welcome to episode number 57 of the Talking ATL Hawks podcast. You got your original crew here with myself and John and Joyder. Now, Andrew unfortunately kind of had to take a back seat for tonight. He recently got his braces tightened and they're causing a lot of ulcers in his mouth. He had to take some medicine earlier, and he's not really allowed to open his mouth right now. It's kind of like a gel. He has to let it sit for a while. So unfortunately, he is not going to be a part of today's episode, but he did give me and John the green light to go ahead and get started. So we were like, why not, man?
Yeah,
John's in a good mood. I'm in a good mood
I'm in
because,
a really good mood.
hey, look, you can see he's wearing a Packers jersey. If you don't know, the Packers just won a big game against Chicago. And I'm in a good mood too, as the Falcons got clobbered by Seattle, which means we're one step closer from Raheem Morris getting fired. So, hey,
And
I could.
no, you're on a draft pick this year. That's
Mm-mm,
what I forgot.
nope.
I'll keep forgetting. I'm sorry. I keep forgetting I'm on a first round draft pick.
You would think, and look, I could get into all that, but this ain't a Falcons podcast, so I'll say that.
I'm gonna be young. Always trade down. Y'all could always
We
trade out.
could. I
Y'all
mean,
can always
yeah,
trade.
we definitely could, but will we? Probably not.
We'll see. But
We will see.
I'm gonna draft until April. That's like
A lot,
4 months, I think.
a lot can happen from here to there. But on other news, so this week wasn't particularly the best week for the Atlanta Hawks. Me and John were kind of discussing a little bit before we started the podcast. It wasn't that we played a bad set of basketball. We were really competitive in every game this week except one, which was the
Yeah.
Clippers game. A lot of heartbreakers, that we dropped a 1 point loss in Detroit on Monday. That was a really back and forth affair. I mean, it was a very respectable game, nothing to really hang your head low. We followed that up with a really disappointing home loss against the Clippers for our second Peachtree Edition game. Then we hosted Denver on Friday, which had the Hawks going up by 20 at halftime, and then blowing that lead to the Nuggets for them to come back and win. And then thankfully, we ended this week on a good note last night, doing what we should have done against Washington the first time and beat them pretty convincingly. They did make things kind of interesting in the third quarter, but we
Yeah.
did ultimately run away with it in the fourth. But before we start, John, how's your week been, man?
I mean, my week's been good. My week's been good. I mean, like college is starting to get to the break.
Mm-hmm.
Next week is finals week. I'm only got one final to do on Wednesday, but then I'm done for the year. Get to celebrate Christmas with the family and friends. My Packers just reclaimed the first seed. I'm in the NFC North and the
It did.
second seed. I'm in the NFC. So I'm feeling great right now.
Hey,
Um,
man.
I'm not gonna be
Best.
happier. Besides
Hey,
the Hawks losing like three straight this week. I mean, I'm feeling good though.
Hey, it's the best time of the year. Like I mentioned, my Falcons, this season's completely out the window. We have been officially eliminated from the playoffs, but I can always hold on to Atlanta Hawks. Like you said, even though we
Yeah.
lost 3 games this week, it's not that we're looking bad. It's nothing to really be disappointed about because we still are playing really good basketball.
No, we're playing good, but Jalen Johnson, which
Dude,
we'll get into later, or we'll get into like in a little bit. We have to start talking about the MVP talk soon. We gotta
it's
start
not,
bringing
look,
that up soon. Like
we
we know that like it's probably gonna go to like a Kate Cunningham or Victor Wembanyama or Luca or something like that, but he's gotta be in that conversation by now.
And that's the thing. Like
Gotta be.
we came into this season saying like this is going to be Jalen Johnson's All-Star season. Like this is going to be the year he finally gets claimed an All-Star. He's going to get noticed in the league. But I mean, we're not even
We
close.
didn't think MVP. We didn't.
We're
think
not
MVP.
even we're not even close to halfway through the season yet, and there are legit talks about this man being an MVP race. Because, like you said, John, he is on a historical run right now.
Yeah.
Last night he just did, which we'll get into later. He just did something that we haven't seen since 2008. by LeBron James, who, in case you
Goat,
didn't know,
the GOAT himself.
is the greatest of all
Yeah,
time.
the
The
GOAT
greatest
himself.
of all time.
Yeah, um, but by no means are we calling
I think
Jalen
my
Johnson
screen
the GOAT.
froze.
Obviously,
There we
obviously,
go.
like he's like a Hawks GOAT, obviously, but like we're
Hey,
not
man.
calling Jalen Johnson the GOAT. It's still LeBron. It's still LeBron / Michael Jordan, but like Jalen Johnson. Wow, which we'll get into later. But yeah, no, like
Look,
incredible run. Even though like this week hasn't really turned out to be wins. Still, individually, Jalen Johnson is playing phenomenal.
absolutely. There's no signs of him slowing down. Like he's
Yeah,
playing this good consistently, which is something that's hard to do. It's easy for a guy, to put up these numbers every once in a while. We see it all throughout the league, but you don't ever see a guy put up these type of numbers on a night in, night out basis. And that's exactly what Jalen Johnson's been doing. But before we hop into this week of Atlanta Hawks basketball, I kind of have, I'm sure, you've heard these rumors circulating around the league, but Giannis, of course, it seems like his time in Milwaukee is coming to an end. He just got injured. I'm gonna put quotations on injured because if you ask me, kind of seems like he's injured because he's just wanting to crawl his way out of Milwaukee. Don't really know if that's true or not. That's kind of what I'm speculating, but either way, Milwaukee, they started the season pretty nice, but now reality's starting to set in, and it's kind of looking like they're going to have to point towards the direction of a rebuild, which would mean getting rid of Giannis. There's a good possibility that he's going to be gone by the trade deadline.
and let's not
Which
forget and let's not forget the Hawks have the best pick of the Bucks and the Spurs. So,
exactly,
like, let's say Milwaukee finishes worse than San Antonio. Or, I mean, not San Antonio, but let's say the Bucks finish worse than New Orleans. I mean, we could
hey
have.
man,
I mean, we could have a top three. I mean, we're pretty much guaranteed a lottery pick.
that's the thing. When it comes to like draft stock, like next season, and really for years to come, the Hawks have kind of put themselves in a really comfortable spot, which opens the door to this possibility, which a lot of people are speculating. When you look at like potential landing spots for Giannis, some of the top dogs, you got the New York Knicks are up there. A lot of people think he's going to go to either San Antonio or maybe even Houston. But we are not eliminating the legit possibility of him maybe coming to Atlanta. Because now Atlanta's in a spot where they kind of have a lot to offer now. Because, Trae Young, he's getting closer to coming back. But because the Hawks have been playing such good basketball without Trae Young, we've mentioned it really the past couple episodes on this podcast. Every time we mention Trae Young, is Trae Young going to make the Hawks better or worse when he comes back? Or are the Hawks getting to a point where we don't even really need is Trae Young a part of the future now for the Atlanta Hawks? And that the way Jalen Johnson's been playing kind of highlights that question even more. So what if you take someone like Trae Young and then you package another guy that we kind of have to talk about a little more, which is Zachary Richardson, the number one pick of the Atlanta Hawks, the number one overall pick of the draft 2 years ago. Kind of an interesting topic here because Zachary's numbers haven't really been impressive per se. But John, I want to get your input here too. I'm not out here saying that. I don't think Zachary was a quote unquote waste of a number one overall pick because you got to look at how Zachary was last year. Zachary Richardson in the second half of last year was phenomenal. If he would have played like he did the second half of last year all season long, to me, he's an all-star and he's in contention for Rookie of the Year, which he kind of was anyway, just taking the second half of last year. And it was really looking like, okay, Zachary looks like a guy that can really turn into an important piece of the Atlanta Hawks' future. But then we loaded up this offseason with a Nikhil Alexander-Walker, Kristaps Porzingis, Luke Kennard, And then you have Jalen Johnson, who's rising up to be better than what we expected. Dyson Daniels taking a bigger role. And Neke Koglu, Muhammad Gay becoming a bigger piece of the Atlanta Hawks this year. And now it's like, I don't want to say Zachary Ricochet is decreasing in his talent. I don't think he has room to grow anymore because this is only his second year. He still needs a lot of development, and I don't know if Atlanta is really a place he can develop because we're so star studded now. So what if we give him to Milwaukee, a team that needs to rebuild and is looking for young developmental talent? So hear me out. I'm thinking Trae Young, Zachary Ricochet, and then a couple of picks. Now that might mean giving up.
I think Milwaukee would want that pick.
They would.
They would want that pick that we got from New Orleans.
I think they would.
I think that's what they would want.
But if it means getting Giannis, would that be worth the package? And John, I'm going to get your input here. But right off the bat, I'm going to say I think I'm all game for it. What do you think?
What? I'm going to be a little biased, and I'll be right back.
Oh, gosh. There's no telling what John's about to pull out here.
Do you know how much this cost me?
Oh, yeah.
Do you know how much this cost me?
I forgot you had a Zachary jersey.
I do not want to trade Zachary because, like, I personally think that we have the perfect roster around us where he doesn't have to pull his weight 100% completely. Like as of right now, he doesn't have to be that guy because we signed the guys. Like you mentioned earlier, we signed the guys perfectly to back up. Like if you have someone go down like Trae Young, because we got Nickeil Alexander-Walker, we got Kristaps Porzingis, we got Luke Kennard. We don't really need. Zachary, plus we already have Jalen Johnson playing MVP numbers right now. We got Madega Okongwu stepping up. We got Mo Gay stepping up. I don't necessarily think that Zachary needs to pull his weight with him only being he's 20?
Yeah, like just turned 20.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't really necessarily think that he needs to be putting up like 20 plus points yet. So I'm okay with him playing the way that he's playing as long as the other guys around him are carrying their weight.
For sure. And I guess I need to put it a different way. It's not like I don't want to say he doesn't have room to develop, but I think maybe he's getting held back a little bit. And maybe being on a roster this loaded might slow his development a little bit.
I don't think so, because he's been playing in the fourth quarter. He's been playing in the fourth quarter pretty consistently for the past couple of games.
Right, and you're right. But to me, I kind of think he's kind of just a role player in a sense, just because he's not a top option when it comes to scoring. And Zachary has definitely had his fair share of games where he really contributed. Even yesterday, he had 18 points, I think, and he had a really good fourth quarter. Let's see. I want to confirm that before I want to give false information here. He had 7 points. I'm sorry. 7 points.
He did underperform, but again, Jalen Johnson had a 30-point triple-double.
Exactly. And then Okongwu had 21 as well.
Yeah, and then Noah had 17, Dyson had 12, and then Kennard ace, and then Vit also had 14 on the bench.
He checked, man. This
been playing phenomenal.
Hey, look, Vit Krivich is exactly what we thought Luke Kennard was going to be. Like the flame has been lit since the out west road trip, and it hasn't gone out since. But let's entertain.
We're not we're not crapping on Luke Kennard as much as
no.
We're just praising Vit Krejci because last year Vit Krejci was only getting garbage minutes. He's getting last year Vit was getting what guys like Caleb Houston or guys like Ace he's getting like I think crazy last year was getting like garbage minutes, which pretty much the same minutes that like X Newell's getting this year.
Yeah.
So like.
And Vince always been a great shooter. Like you said,
Yes.
he was like the end of the bench guy. We never expected that he was going to like flourish and be one of our top bench pieces this year. But that's exactly what he's been. And I mean, he's been a lethal weapon. He's kind of a guy that you can put on the court if you're in a situation where you need a guaranteed shooter out there. He's been that guy off the bench. And it's been phenomenal to have him as an important piece of this Atlanta Hawks team. But let's entertain the idea that the Hawks do go out and get Giannis. If we package, Trae Young, Zachary Richichet, and then these are kind of like the list of picks that we could offer Milwaukee. Of course, I think you're right, John. I think they would absolutely want that New Orleans pick. We can all, we have that other 2026 first round pick outright, which involves San Antonio, Cleveland, and Utah. The swap rights on the 2027 least favorable pick, the 2028 first round pick outright, which involves Cleveland and Utah, the 2029 first round pick outright, 2030, 2031, and 2032 first round pick outright. So that's kind of like what's on the table in terms of picks for the foreseeable future that the Atlanta Hawks would have to entertain offering Milwaukee if they wanted a guy with the caliber of Giannis. But if we did get Giannis, just picture the starting five. It could be Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Dyson Daniels, Giannis, Jalen Johnson, and then Nneka Okongwu. I mean, that's a pretty filthy starting five.
Yeah.
But realistically, in the grand scheme of things, Giannis is most likely to end up, if you ask me, at a team like the Knicks, the Spurs, or the Rockets. But, I mean, if the Hawks do reach out and make an offer like that, if I'm Milwaukee, that's an offer that's really hard to refuse. And I don't really see what someone like New York, San Antonio, Houston could offer to really match that, because that is a loaded offer.
I mean, like, if I'm Houston, I would be content with their roster because, like, they already have, like, a young core plus Durant.
Yeah.
So, like, they don't really need, like, an aging star like Giannis. I mean, because, like, I mean, because like let's be honest, like they don't really need Giannis with Durant, because like I don't think that like back. I mean, I don't think the cap space will work out. Plus, I don't think that like the whole like roster construction work out with their play style and all that. So I don't think Houston would do well with Giannis and Durant. So I think that like Houston is out on them already because they already gave up a lot for Durant as well. I mean, I don't even know like what Houston would give up for Giannis. Like I don't even know what they would give up.
I mean, they do. Like you said,
a man maybe.
And like you said, they have like a really good young core. But if I'm Houston, I don't know if I want to mess with that young core.
No, you don't. You don't.
So,
I mean, you don't really. Cause already like mess with that. Would have been giving up Jalen Green to Phoenix for Durant.
Yeah.
Because like when they drafted Jalen Green, they drafted him to replace James Harden because they sent James Harden to Brooklyn. So I mean. Assuming like for them sending Jalen Green to Phoenix for Durant, I mean they already have Amen Thompson, they already have Reed Shepherd. Okay, hold on, we got Andrew's. I'm gonna text to Andrew about his thing. I'm
glad you did that.
Private,
I'm glad you did that. I forgot about that.
Yeah. So Andrew said. To win that move for Atlanta for sure, it's going to feel like a bullet shot setting New Orleans picks, and since it's likely going to be a lottery guy, but for a guy like Giannis, it's too tempting not to take it. So this is like Andrew agrees with you that Atlanta should do the move, but Personally,
I mean,
I don't
look,
want to get him because I already spent $134 on a Hawks jersey. Not only a Hawks jersey, a City Connect jersey, which I never bought before. City Connect for Zachary Richey, the number 1 overall pick, and I just don't want to waste another $134 on another Hawks jersey.
But you could get one that says Giannis on it, or you could just slap a piece of duct tape on it and write Giannis yourself if you really want.
At this point, I'm going to get my own custom jersey. At this point,
yeah, there you go. So that way you know, yeah, it never changes.
Yeah,
that's lucky the smart move.
Especially since we've already done that for the Packers and the Braves. I mean, like,
might as well.
Yeah, so I might as well just like put 3 and then join on the back. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the whole on your trade proposal.
I mean, I could see it either way. Like, I see it like makes sense on both sides. I mean, if we go out, I mean, Trae Young, there's already rumors about him leaving anyway. It does kind of feel like his time with Atlanta might be up, so that already makes sense. I mean, Zachary, it's not like he's a massive piece for the Hawks right now. Now, he definitely could be later in the future. So that would definitely be a gamble, especially, having to give up our draft capital, which we worked so hard to get. But I mean, for a guy like Giannis, it's worth it in my eyes. But if we decide to hold back, hold on to our young core, either keep Trae Young or do something different with them, and then hold on to our draft capital, that makes sense too. So it's really like, I feel like whatever direction the Hawks go, you can't really mess up here. The only way we can mess up is if I wouldn't send Milwaukee anyone more than Trae Young and Zachary. I wouldn't send any more than that. If we give it any more pieces, I would consider that too much. But I don't think we do that anyway. But that's the only way I could see us messing it up in this situation.
I mean, because here's the thing: like, Milwaukee's 2 biggest needs are a point guard and a forward to pair with Giannis.
Right. So that makes sense.
So that would be perfect for Milwaukee. That would be perfect for them.
I think if the Hawks want Milwaukee, I feel like that offer would almost guarantee him Giannis, if the Hawks want Giannis. Because I just don't see what team could offer anything better to me.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
It's just gonna depend if we want to do that or not. We might not. If we don't, that's okay. There's not really a way we can lose in this scenario, if you ask me. But with that being said, if you're ready, John, we can go ahead and hop into this first game against the Pistons this past Monday night.
Yeah, we can.
All right, John, if you kind of want to open it up, kind of talk about what happened there. It was, I mean, like I said, it was a very respectable game. Nothing to hang your head low. I mean, Detroit's just a phenomenal team, man. They're taking over the East right now.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, yeah, like, like Andrew, like Chase said. Sorry.
No, you're good, man. Hey.
Twins. So, like,
hey. None taken, man. Like, Raheem Morris is about to get fired. I'm in a good mood right now.
Yeah. So like the Hawks lost this game. By 1 point. So like you said, nothing to hang our heads on. We played a great game. Okongwu had 20 points, 6 boards, 4 assists. Jalen Johnson, 29, 13-7. Zachary had a stinger of a game with only posting up 4 points.
Yeah.
Noah had 26, 3 and 1. Dyson had 10. But I mean, our bench didn't really help out this game.
They did not.
They only had 3 points. Keaton Wallace only put up 1 shot, but he missed. Luke Kennard had 5 points. And Mogay had 1. But I mean, the biggest thing is that we didn't have Kristaps Porzingis, which we didn't have him for the last game either. And like the Pistons kill us like in paint scoring, and that's basically. Basically what we could say is basically they just killed us in the paint. This time, Jalen Jordan had 21 points, 11 rebounds. Kate Cunningham kind of had a slow game, only having 18 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists. Tobias Harris had 9. But Ron Holland had 17, and Karis LeVert, former Hawk himself, had 14 points off the bench, which I think this was his season debut, if I'm not mistaken.
Was it his season debut?
I
I know he's been dealing with injuries. You might be right.
I think he said that this was his season debut.
Let's see. Not his season.
I could be wrong about that, but I swear they said something about
his season. His season debut was the game before. Before that game against Atlanta, they hosted Orlando, and that was his season debut. So that was his second game of the year.
Close enough.
Very close. Yeah, second game of the year, and he's back in full force, as you can tell.
Yeah.
But yeah, John, you're right.
Like, the Hawks. I mean, going to the full stats. I mean, so we basically, they only made 5 3-point shots. But, yeah. I mean, we sent them to the line 24 times. They made 18 free throws. And they out rebounded us. I mean, that's what happens when we don't have a 7-for-3 guy on the court. But again, points in the paint, like I mentioned earlier, they had 58 to our 42, but also we had 16 fouls, and also the fast break points, which didn't help either. But the total turnovers, they had 23, and we only had 15. So I'm kind of proud of us for limiting the turnovers there, but I mean, I'll kick it to you if you want to go more in depth.
Oh, sorry, you froze a little bit.
Do you want to go more in depth on the game? Do you want to go more in depth?
Yeah. So I mean, look, like you said, John. Like to me, this was like your classic 80s, 90s basketball game. And what I'm saying is a 3-point really wasn't a big part of it. This was a very low-scoring affair, a very defensive battle. But the name of the game for Detroit, like you said, John, was in the paint. And the numbers say it all. I mean, they had 58 points in the paint, throughout 42. They shot 5 for 26 beyond the arc, so 19%. A really poor performance from deep. But, I mean, the Hawks, I mean, like I said, this was really a game to hang your head low. Back and forth affair. I mean, the largest lead for Detroit was 7. The largest lead for us was 5. But I mean, the Hawks could have easily won this game if they were able to filter in a factor that has been killing us all season long. We say it every podcast. If there's one Achilles tear on this Atlanta Hawks team, it's the rebounding issues. Every single night, the Hawks are getting out rebounded, no matter really who we play. And John, like you said, a big part of that is the lack of playing time from Kristaps. And I mean, and like we're not blaming Kristaps because we know, like we found out early in the year that critical heart condition that he has, which is really going to limit him even more this year than we originally thought when he signed him. So it's not really anything we can help, which is why when he doesn't play, it's always listed as an illness. So it's not that he can really help, nothing we can really do about it. I mean, we're glad anytime he's able to get on the court, but him not being able to play as often as we thought is really hurting us, especially in terms of aspects like rebounding. Like you said, look at the defensive rebounding numbers. Out-rebound us defensively 42-27. Out-rebound us offensively 18-7. That's 60 total rebounds for them, 34 for us. And you look at just throughout the lineup, I mean, Durant had 11 boards, Jenkins 8, Cunningham's 8, Ron Holland had 6, even Isaiah Stewart off the bench had 10. And it was really just taking away any second chance opportunities the Atlanta Hawks had, which is why both teams really finished under 100 points. So really just came down to who dominated the paint more. I mean, the Hawks did filter in 14 threes, 35%, which isn't bad at all. But the Pistons just dominated us inside the paint, offensively and in terms of rebounding. And, when the name of the game is who plays better in the paint, that's what the result's going to be. And I feel like for the Hawks, that's just been a constant issue for Atlanta. And to me, like even with the absence of Kristaps, I mean, I feel like we do got to figure out a way to get more physical in terms of rebounding because we have a really tall lineup, even when Kristaps doesn't play, because we still have Zachary Richardson, Aneke Okongwu, which Okongwu only posted 6 rebounds, which is less than he usually produces. Jane Johnson had 13. Zachary needs to get more physical and involved in rebounding. He only had one. Dyson, who's been a really good rebounder for Atlanta this year, which is odd. I didn't expect him to be one of their best rebounders. He had 5. And the rest is just, written on the wall. But I mean, that's just been a constant problem for Atlanta, a problem that Quinn Snyder has to kind of highlight a little more when we're getting ready for practices and preparing for these games because, we got to expect Kristaps not to be on the court for majority of the week. I mean, I'm expecting him to really play maybe once, twice a week now because of this heart condition. And, when you're missing a key round rebounder like that constantly, you have to ask who's going to be the next man up when it comes to these rebounding. And it's been Jalen Johnson, like we said. He's posting these triple doubles constantly, so we know he's getting involved in rebounding. Okongwu is going to be a constant rebounder, but when they're not on the court, who else is it going to be? Our bench is very small. Other than Muhammad Gay, we don't really have a really big bench. The rebounding becomes a big problem where our starting five's off the court, and that's when the Hawks are very limited on second chance points, and that's when we're giving up a bunch of second chance points on the other end. So to me, that's what really did it for the Atlanta Hawks this game. But I mean, Detroit's they've been a powerhouse in the East. They've really taken control of the Eastern Conference from the get-go. They haven't let anyone take the reins since. So I mean, this is a very tough matchup. One the Hawks were in the entire time, of course, and one we definitely could have won if we just did some things a little bit differently. I do want to give props to Cade Cunningham towards the end of this game. Probably one of the most beautiful layups I've seen in my life. The Pistons, the Pistons held a 5-point lead with about 2 minutes left. Jalen Johnson hit a big 3 and transition to get the lead to 3 for Detroit. And then we end up getting a stop on the other end. Jalen Johnson found on the corner with about a minute left that tied the game. But then 52 seconds left, Cade Cunningham found his way past Dyson, hit a tough mid-range to get the Pistons up by 2. Got the stop on the other end, and then Cade Cunningham spun around Jaden Johnson and Dyson Daniels, got between Okongwu and Nickeil Alexander-Walker on a reverse layup, made it on the other end of the court with 17 seconds left to really put the game to rest. And that was probably one of the best 2 minutes of basketball I've ever seen from Cade Cunningham. If you haven't seen that layup on transition, go take a look at it. It was mesmerizing to watch. I mean, my jaw was to the floor looking at it, and that's what put the game to rest. Tough one to lose just because of how bad we got out-rebounded. I mean, it was really bad, and I feel like we would just clean that up a little better. That game could have gone in our favor. But I mean, we were 13-8 heading into Detroit. It drops us to 13-9. Nothing really to look too bad on because we knew we were heading home to face the LA Clippers, which we dominated LA when we went on the road to play the Clippers out west in their house. So we were thinking, it's a Peachtree Edition night. Vibes are going to be high. We have a lot of celebrities in the house. The Clippers have been really struggling this year. We're thinking this was a game the Hawks could take control of once again and get back on track after that tough loss in Detroit. But, John, what actually happened Wednesday night?
Yeah, it was pretty much all Clippers at this point. Let me get the game pulled up. Kawhi and James Harden basically turned back the clock. Kawhi finished with 21 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. James Harden finished with 27, 9, and 4. And I believe John Collins, again, former Hawk, finished with 15 and 9.
Yep, sure did.
Nicholas Batum, old head, finished with 6 points, and then 6 points, 3 rebounds, and then Kobe Sanders finished with 17 points. And notably, this was the game after the Clippers cut Chris Paul due to I guess like they didn't like Chris
It
Paul's
was
leadership.
Yeah, Tyronn Lue said that like he had leadership issues and he didn't like how he was trying to direct the team. I guess Tyronn Lue kind of felt like Chris Paul was trying to coach the team. He didn't like his leadership style, but that's a topic on its own. To cut a man like Chris Paul, who you kind of knew this was going to be his last year anyway, he's back on the team. He's well, not the team he started with, but the team he kind of made a name for himself. Then you're just going to cut the man like that to help him with his retirement? Yeah, I don't buy it. There's some fishy stuff going in that Clippers locker room.
Yeah, so I mean, I hope that Chris Paul finds himself like a better like a team to go to. Um, but I mean, like if this is the end of his career, I mean, he's had a Hall of Fame career, but
He
like
has. I don't want this to be the way it ends, man. That would be horrible for a man like Chris Paul.
yeah, for sure. Like, especially because the Clippers was basically the team that like defined his career. With
Yeah.
Lob City
That,
with Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan, that whole thing.
that's where he made
Um,
a name for himself, man.
yeah. So I mean, like, and I don't think I sent like a graphic of like the Hawks fans chanting where's Chris Paul to the Clippers bench or something. Like that really like I personally want to blame our fans for that because like that probably added more fire under the Clippers the with that
Oh,
'cause, like
absolutely.
yeah. So like screw the Hawks fans and it's like screw the Hawks fans in attendance to that game because like it's like come on come on it's like we're a better fan base than to tease Clippers like that. But I mean, yeah, I
You know
mean,
we like to troll.
yeah, but but like yeah, this is all Clippers. And then for the Hawks stats, I mean, we didn't have Jalen Johnson. I think he was dealing with some like with the right calf injury.
Right.
I think a right calf soreness. So we to rely more of our bench. But you know, but the winning score was was the Kill Alexander Walker, of course, with 1 points. Dice Daniels will finish with 15. Zachary Reese finished with 11. Mogay didn't shoot well. Congo finished with 7, and then Asino with 11, and Kennard with 11 off the bench. King Wallace with 8. Caleb Houston with 3. And Vic Krejci with 5. But I mean, yeah, this is all the Clippers. But I mean, yeah, just awful game just awful game. But
And I mean, we could highlight the same issues too.
yeah,
Like even the last game, this was another instance the Hawks got out rebounded by a large margin. I mean, 54-38, 41-31 on defensive rebounds, only 13-7 on offensive rebounds. I mean, like you said it, John. I mean, like the young Buck Hawks, absolutely outpaced the Clippers when we went out west. Like you said, this is the oldest team in NBA history. I mean, it didn't feel that way Wednesday night because, like you mentioned, with Kawhi Leonard and James Harden turning back the clock. And, this was a second straight game the Hawks scored under 100 points, which is very unlike them. And I kind of want to say that maybe Chris Paul had something to do with this. And the reason I say this, I saw this on Instagram a couple nights ago before this game. It actually might have been the game before this one or the game before they let go of Chris Paul. There was an instance where, Kawhi Leonard was just playing very lazy defense. I don't remember who the Clippers were playing, but it was driving Chris Paul crazy. And in the huddle, he was getting into Kawhi Leonard. He was getting into really the entire Clippers team for how lazy their defense was. But the Wednesday night, it was probably the best defensive game the Clippers played all year. That might have had something to do with the fire Chris Paul trying to light under this team when came to defense, because I mean they shut down the Hawks from all aspects. I mean, when you're missing a guy like Jalen Johnson, of course, Kristaps once again. So I mean, already Kristaps, he's a big threat when he plays, of course, on rebounds, which is a big reason why we got out rebounded. We talked about Jalen Johnson the game before. He's been a triple double machine, which shows how involved he's been on the rebounding side. So take that away, and that takes away a factor as well. In terms of scoring and ball movement too. All aspects. Not having Jalen Johnson really hurts the Atlanta Hawks. Nikhil Alexander-Walker stepped up where he could, 21 points, like you said. Dyson Daniels still played a really good game defensively, got 2 steals. Zachary racked up 2 steals himself. The Hawks never really got dominated in a quarter. Like, each quarter was close. It's just the Clippers kept growing their margin more and more and more. And you look at the plus minus. This might be one of the worst plus minuses I've ever seen, especially by a starting 5. Minus 21 from Zachary, minus 23 Muhammad Gay, minus 24 Dyson Daniels, and then minus 25 from Vic Krivich, and he only got 21 minutes. That just shows that, Luke Kennard, like you said, 11 points. He made 3 threes. It's a very productive game from him from beyond the arc. It's just the Hawks look lost. To put it plain and simple, the Atlanta Hawks just look lost. James Harden played a big game for the Clippers, and we played them out west. So that was nothing new. Kawhi Leonard to get involved the way he did. John Collins had a big night too, and he got very involved on the Clippers ball movement. He fed James Harden a lot of assists. It just kind of seemed like the Atlanta Hawks had no answer on the defensive end. We were already depleted offensively, which I don't want to say should be an excuse, because you can look back at when the Lakers came to Atlanta, where the Hawks were more depleted than we've ever been this year, and we really hated LA, one of our best performances of the season. So I don't want to say that should be an excuse when it comes to offense, but it just there was no sense of movement, no sense of fluency, and it just turned into a disaster for the Atlanta Hawks. I was feeling a little under the weather that night, so I was laying in my bed. My stomach was giving me issues. I was like, what better way to make me feel better than just watching the Atlanta Hawks basketball? And I was feeling good, watching our beautiful Peachtree edition night, knowing the Clippers were coming down, thinking this should be an easy game. That it was not. It turned out to be a really disappointing loss. And now all of a sudden, the Hawks have dropped 2 in a row. That's 2 straight games scoring under 100 points. Now you're starting to wonder that the Atlanta Hawks are having some problems offensively, because those are really back-to-back Detroit and the Clippers. 2 straight games where our offenses didn't really look that impressive at all. And now we got the Denver Nuggets coming to town, one of the powerhouses of the Western Conference. And now you're starting to run it. This is a game the Atlanta Hawks have easily dropped, which would make it 3 in a row. We knew the Atlanta Hawks desperately needed a win here to get back on track. John, open it up. Let's start breaking into the heartbreaker that was the Friday night matchup against the Joker and the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah. So before I get into this, I want to highlight just how bad Jokic was I can't really pull up by quarter, but we were holding Jokic pretty much I think we were holding him to under 10 points at the half.
I've never seen Joker be that involved as he was in the first half of that game.
Yeah. But so for the Hawks, we were leading pretty much the entire game except until the final. Well, no, we were leading by 20 by half, but the Nuggets put up 80 points in the second half combined, because they dropped 40 points in the third and 40 points in the fourth quarter. Yeah, you're just gonna lose that game. But so the stats for the players leading the game. I'll start with the Hawks. Okongwu had 13 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. Zachary Richardson had 9 points, 3 rebounds. No scoring with 30 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 rebounds. Dyson Daniels with 15 points. assists and 2 steals. Jalen Johnson with a triple double, 21 points, 18 rebounds, 16 assists and 2 steals. But Kristaps Porzingis off the bench. We had him off the bench, y'all, because he was on a minutes restriction. Finishing with 25 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, and 2 blocks. But Vic Krejci finishing with 15 points, shooting all 3-pointers, finishing with 5 for 8 shooting. But let's get into this Nuggets stat line. Cameron Johnson finished with 16 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. Jamal Murray, 23 points, 12 assists, 5 rebounds. Tim Hardaway Jr. Off the bench, 17 points.
Former Hawk,
yeah. Bruce Brown, 13 points, 3 rebounds. But Nikola Jokic, the Joker himself, 3-time MVP. Mind you, he was struggling the first half, but somehow he finished with 40 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists, a steal, and a block. Chase, what happened? How did this happen?
Well, I mean, I think first, right off the bat, we got to go ahead and mention that Jalen Johnson, we said we would get into it at the start of the episode, had one of the most historic first half stat lines in Atlanta Hawks history. He had 10 assists by the 7-minute mark of the second quarter. A first half triple double for Jalen Johnson, which I believe was it was the second fastest triple double in NBA history. Obviously, the fastest triple double in Hawks history. The first fastest came from the man we were playing tonight himself, Nikola Jokic. So there's already Jalen Johnson set a mark on more NBA history. But I mean, it was just a tale of 2 different halves from the Atlanta Hawks. I mean, offensively, the Atlanta Hawks stayed fluent throughout the entire game. I mean, really, the Nuggets did too. And the Hawks were moving offensively like a Swiss Army knife. And they did everything that makes this Atlanta Hawks team special. And that's moving quick on transition. I mean, any stop the Atlanta Hawks got on the defensive end, we quickly moved it to an offensive possession where we're able to attack it inside or dish it out to someone from the outside. And we were just hitting threes left and right. I mean, we shot 20 for 46, 43%. We shot 51% overall throughout the night. I mean, the Atlanta Hawks just got back to the offensive movement, moving way inside, making it 3-on-2 opportunities inside the paint, and either feeding Dyson Daniels or Zachary Ricochet, who had a really big first half. And then Nickeil Alexander-Walker, he racked up 30 points, 5 threes beyond the arc. Only had 1 assist because he wasn't our main source of offensive movement, which came through Jalen Johnson, but he was our main outside and inside scorer, making great contact finishes at the rim, just doing everything, like I said, that makes the Atlanta Hawks team special. But what the Atlanta Hawks did, what set apart the Atlanta Hawks in the first half and the second half was what they did defensively. Like you said, Nikola Jokic was held to under 10 points in the first half, and that was because, Nikola Jokic, you watch how he plays. He's a big inside scorer, but when he doesn't have a way inside, he is the most athletic guy I've ever seen in my life. And the way he's able to use his court vision to just create the most ridiculous opportunities for the Denver Nuggets. That's something we shut down the first half. Like the Atlanta Hawks were playing very tight when Nikola Jokic had the ball in terms of shutting down passing lanes, which forced Nikola Jokic to have to do everything he could to score inside, which he couldn't do, which led to those transition opportunities by the Atlanta Hawks. And you read it here, John. The Atlanta Hawks, had 18 fast break points, but the Nuggets did have 26, which a lot of that came in the second half. But I mean, the Denver Nuggets tightened up defensively to start the third quarter. Like you said, the Atlanta Hawks had a 20-point lead at halftime, but the blink of the eye, the Nuggets got it to 6 points because they started the third quarter on a 13-0 run in like 4 minutes. And that came from, just shutting down the Atlanta Hawks offensive opportunities. They were limiting these fast break chances. And then the Denver Nuggets got back to what makes them the Denver Nuggets, giving Jokic the ball. He was able to score more fluidly inside, but then he was able to, use his court vision to create unseen opportunities that the Atlanta Hawks just couldn't see coming. And it was a rhythm that the Denver Nuggets never got out of. And the Hawks, never completely lost control of the game. It became back and forth. It became very contested all throughout the end. But just the Denver Nuggets getting back to the rhythm and keeping it consistently, the last 24 minutes of the game, it just became too much, and it gave Denver Nuggets the second half comeback. And knowing the outcomes of the Detroit and the LA Clippers game, this was one the Hawks desperately needed. And watching the first half, it eliminated all worries from the Hawks fan bases because we got to worrying, are there issues starting to come up within the Atlanta Hawks offense? But then that eliminated all those issues and all those scares because we're like, okay, the Atlanta Hawks are back. They're getting back to what makes this Hawks team so special. And then it's so disappointing to see them drop a game like this, knowing the severity of it, because this dropped us back into the play-in spot as well. We no longer held a top 6 spot in the Eastern Conference after this game. So it's like the Atlanta Hawks are playing good basketball, but you see it start to slip.
We're back in the play-in spot. We're at the 9th seed right now.
Yeah, but you see us playing good basketball, so it's concerning to see us slip more and more, knowing, we're playing good basketball, but we're dropping games we shouldn't. And it's just, little aspects that we have to stay consistent on all 48 minutes. We can't let our foot off the gas. We can't let top scorers like Nikola Jokic, top players in the league, find their rhythm, but we seem to have them out in the first half of the game. It's things like that. I mean, Quinn Snyder's a great coach. He's going to get that cleaned up. But I mean, if we don't keep an eye on those things, if we leave the door open, leave those cracks uncovered, then we're going to drop games that we should, or drop games that we seem to have control of. But I mean, it's still fairly early in the year. It's aspects I do expect the Atlanta Hawks to pick up, but this truly was a heartbreaker because this would have been a very impressive win for the Atlanta Hawks, and one we had control of for a chunk of the game. And it's just one you hate to let see slip.
Yeah, for sure.
But, thankfully, we were able to end this week, this, very heart-wrenching week on a bright note. We were heading to Washington. Now, we do remember how detrimental that first game was in Washington early in the year. It was the CJ McCollum game. Absolutely cooked us. But, we knew there was a lot of fire under this Atlanta Hawks team. We dropped 3 in a row. We're back in the playing spot. We knew this is one we desperately needed, one we knew we should have taken. I mean, this is a 3-win Washington team. They're a bottom feeder, not just in the Eastern Conference, from the entire NBA. Jalen Johnson was, again, no Kristaps Porzingis, but face value, this Hawks roster clears this Washington roster. John, give us some positive feedback on how this game went.
Like I said, we needed a win here, and we got a win here. So, but not only did we get a win. Like we mentioned earlier, Jalen Johnson achieved history here. He was the first player since 2008, LeBron James, to record back-to-back triple-doubles, finishing 30 points, 12 rebounds, 12 assists, and I guess he didn't get a steal, but okay. Oh, wait. No. 2 steals. Okay, yeah, 2 steals. Another guy finished with 21 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists. Almost a triple-double himself too. Also finishing with 2 steals and 3 blocks. Zachary finished with 7 points. Nikhil Alexander finished with 17 points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds. Dyson finished with 12 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. Zero steals, which is not common for him. Mogave had 4 points. AC Newell had 11 points.
Shout
Canova
out to Asa,
had
man.
15 points. And then Kurgi had 14 points off the bench. We did not have Kristaps Porzingis for this game again because he's recovering from an illness. But unlike last game, CJ McCollum did not go crazy. He did. Well, he did finish with 28 points, but they did not. They did not also have. They were also without their big man in Alexander Sarr. So that was
And that showed.
so that was a big miss for them. But they finished. Justin Champagne finished with 60 points. Keontae George finished with 15. Bob Kennedy finished with 14. Vucevic finished with 18, and Will Riley finished with 15, and a good win for the Hawks. And we dominated. Honestly, we dominated. On the free throw line, honestly, finishing 14 for 14 on the free throw line. We had 36 team assists, 13 steals, and forced 20 turnovers, and we also dominated with 70 points in the paint and 19 fast break points. So yeah.
I mean, this was like the game of the big men to me. And that game, Congu, 21 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 10 field goals made. He came really close to a triple double himself, 2 steals, 3 blocks, like you said. The Hawks just went back to playing very comfortable basketball. Like you said, John, I mean, Alex Sarr was a big reason Washington were able to dominate the Atlanta Hawks when they came to Washington earlier in the year. So with him being out, taking away a big factor there, really showed. And Washington was kind of a team that they tried to live beyond. I mean, they shot 38 threes, hit 17 of them, but their inside, they just had no lane inside. Their inside scoring was very weak, especially with, like I said, the absence of Alex Sarr. So Atlanta Hawks, didn't really have to fret too much about the Wizards' inside scoring. And we mentioned it earlier. The Wizards, in the game when the Atlanta went to Washington earlier, Washington had very sloppy ball movement, which gave the Atlanta Hawks a lot of opportunities. They weren't able to capitalize on them earlier in the year. They were able to last night. And I mean, what a dominant performance from inside the paint for Atlanta. Like you said, 70 points inside for Atlanta Hawks. Aneke Kongru had his way inside, along with Jalen Johnson, Nikhil Alexander-Walker. Zachary Richey only finished with 7 points, but he had a lot of nice plays inside. Same with Muhammad Gay, who only had 4 points. Asa Newell was a big man on transition. Luke Kennard. Now, I want to give Luke Kennard and Vic Krivich a big shout-out. They were a two-headed monster from beyond the arc, especially in the fourth quarter. Because like I mentioned, Washington did make this a game again. It was only a 4-point game heading into the fourth quarter. The Hawks came out the gate running, won the fourth quarter 34-23, and a lot had to do with Vic Krivich's heat check, keeping his flame lit. He had a lot of big transition threes, off-ball threes from beyond the arc. 4 throughout the game. Luke Kennard had a big spot-up shot from beyond the arc as well in that quarter. He ended up with 3, which ended up with the Atlanta Hawks running away with it. And this was a much-needed win. Kind of getting their identity back. Like I said, this was a very comfortable game of basketball for the Atlanta Hawks, kind of get back to their fluid movement, not really having to fret with inside problems as Washington's just a weak inside scoring team. I do want to make a quick shout out. I feel like I have to my Florida State boy, Jameer Watkins. He has been getting the starting reins at point guard for the Washington Wizards these past 2 games. He did last night and the game before for Washington. Now, his numbers have not been impressive at all, but I do want to give shout out to my Florida State boy for making it into the starting lineup. Just quick little shout out there to my Florida State alum. But yeah, just glad the Atlanta Hawks were able to get this one under their belt, get back into winning ways, and we can kind of look ahead it doesn't get any easier. Our next game isn't till Friday because they had to do the NBA Cup game. So it kind of gives, the teams that didn't make it to that stage a little bit of some breathing room. So we look towards Friday and we go back to Detroit, hoping we can get our get back there. We're already 0 for 2 against the Pistons this year. Then we host Philadelphia on Sunday, had a double overtime banger against them a couple weeks or about a week ago. Then we travel to Charlotte, should take a game there on Thursday. This is the next week. And then we play host to the San Antonio Spurs that Friday, the 19th. So that's kind of looking ahead for the Atlanta Hawks schedule. The month of December has definitely been a testy one. It kind of stays that way for the rest of this month. So the Atlanta Hawks, they just need to continue to play good basketball, fill up these patches. I've just been letting these teams back into games. And if they do that, the Atlanta Hawks should find their way back into a top six spot of the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, yeah. I know you're right. Hopefully we have Kristaps for this game against the Pistons because it'll be a dang near a week when we so he should hopefully be good to play because we will definitely need him for this game.
The way we got out rebounded Monday night for sure.
We need him we definitely need him. But I mean, yeah, this should be a good couple games for us to get back get back to increasing our playoff chances because I do not like being in the plan. I do not want to be in the plan for the third.
Yeah, especially with the roster we have, there's no reason we should be a playing team. We are getting close. On another note, we're getting close to Trae Young being reevaluated again.
Now, it should be a week away, maybe.
Now they said yesterday during the Washington game that Trae Young is continuing to be ruled out indefinitely. I don't know. So mid-December is when he's going to be reevaluated again. It doesn't give an exact date. It just says mid-December. But if he's reevaluated mid-December and it is a positive feedback and it does look like he's coming back to recovery, then they're saying that the December 23rd game against the Chicago Bulls could be the game that Trae Young returns. But that all depends if he gets a good report when he's reevaluated, which I do believe is this Saturday. December 23rd against the Bulls would be the game he comes back if he has a good reevaluation.
Okay, so you'll be at that game then for sure. You'll be at that game.
Yeah, me and Andrew will be in attendance for that. So there is a chance we could be in attendance for Trae Young's return. And I think, don't quote me on this, I don't know for sure, but I think this Saturday is when he's going to get reevaluated, I believe. But we'll keep an eye out on that and just pray for some positive feedback because I know we're playing great basketball without him, but Trae Young's Trae Young. He's still the best playmaker in the league. If he can come back and continue to be that dominant playmaker with this roster around him, the sky's the limit for Atlanta. And then what happens to the Atlanta Hawks when Trae Young comes back will decide a lot. It will be a big piece of where the Atlanta Hawks are going to go for their future, whether we keep Trae Young or we don't. So that's something that's an answer that's been lingering since Trae Young's injury, and that's an answer that's a question I want to go ahead and get answered as quick as possible. So Trae Young needs to go ahead and come back, man. We're ready for it.
Yeah, 100%.
But anything else you want to discuss before end this episode?
No, I'm good.
All right. The Hawks, finished 1-3 this week. We do get a lot of breathing room before this Friday's matchup in Detroit. So hope this will be a time for the Atlanta Hawks to figure out their rebounding issues, figure out ways to patch up these holes that are laying teams back into these games that we've seen have control of. And if we do that, the Atlanta Hawks will be back into a top six spot in the East by no time. But for me, John and Andrew, who could be tonight's episode, we will see you next time. Go!